We're talking about harassment, um, deep fake abuse, and threats that spill into real world danger.
And AI is getting to be a little creepy.
How do we protect free speech though when, because I think that there's this, I don't even know how to say that. I was going to say a silver lining, but I want to be able to speak my mind, but when does that cross over, right? And how does that affect those kind of things when you have to, you want to? We live in the United States, and supposedly we have free speech.
I'm all about free speech. I'm all about being living out the rights of the United States of America and all that. I'm all about that. However, when that imposes on the safety of someone else, then that's a concern for me.
Walk as if you are free, you are respected, you are safe, you are powerful. Hello. Thanks for joining us again today. We are Her Presence. So excited that you continue to support, continue to watching us. Make sure that you are sharing. Make sure that you go to YouTube and subscribe. And so on today, we're hoping that you are intrigued about the things that we're going to talk about. We're going to do the tea bag today. Like, what is the tea? What is trending these days? And so we're just going to have a little conversation about some of this stuff. I don't know. Some of this stuff is just like, what? So hopefully we'll have a good conversation about these things. So I'm going to say one of the trends that I was looking at, and then we'll see how that plays out. I know you guys have some too. So, okay. So, digital misogyny. Digital misogyny and women's safety. Okay. So, online reports show a sharp rise in digital misogyny, especially targeting female journalists, activists, and public-facing women. It's not just rude comments that are coming through, is what I'm reading. Not trolling, not just that. We're talking about harassment, deep fake abuse, and threats that spill into real world danger. So it's not just trolling, it's like harassment and doxing, Doxxing, doxing. I'm sure I should know what that is, but I don't. Women in media are reporting that online abuse is now one of the biggest barriers to doing their jobs safely. Doing their job safely. And for activists, especially those speaking about politics, gender, or human rights, the digital space has become a battleground. All right, so what are your thoughts on that? First of all, who should be responsible for the safety in these digital spaces? Should it be the government, or should it be the actual platform, or should it be the user? No, and I'm going to say, should it be the user? I remember years ago, before all the digital stuff and social and all this kind of stuff, we had cable, and it was like, the cable people should be, responsible for what our kids should see or seeing and all this kind of stuff. And one thing would be, a set of people would say, you shouldn't put that on them. You can turn the TV. You don't have to have the TV on. So who's responsible in this digital age? Is it the platform? Is it the user? Is it the government? What's your thoughts on that?
It has to be everyone. It's all the stakeholders involved. So whether that be me as the viewer, whether it be me as a parent and my children, the government, the platform itself, we have to work together as a community, because that ensures it's a safety net that's applied on every level. If there's not a safety net, then we're going to find these people who are trolling and targeting and all of those things. So it has to be a combined effort. I can't leave the government to protect me 100%. And I cannot expect that a platform will protect my children 100%. I have to do my due diligence as a parent. I have to do my due diligence as a user to make sure that I'm informed, that I know what I should be using and what my children are seeing. So I believe it's a collective effort. We all, as they say, it takes a village. I think it takes a village, even on digital platforms.
Yeah, I agree. So I didn't know what doxing was.
Did you look it up?
I did. I looked it up. So doxing is the malicious act of researching and publicly publishing an individual's private or identifying information such as home addresses, phone numbers, or workplace details without consent.
So for doxing, and I agree with what Melissa said. For doxing, everyone should have a responsibility. How would the government be responsible for making sure that didn't happen? How would the platform be responsible? Me as a user, I think we put a lot of stuff out.
We do.
We put, and if I'm gonna say, if you know you're an activist or you're in some type of political arena or whatever, I kind of feel like you're already doing those kind of things. But man, it is these days so easy to get someone's information.
Right.
I mean, literally, I can look up someone and I can get their address and I can see how long they've lived there. And it was pretty current. Maybe they've moved in the last year, within the last year. Mm-hmm. But it's I can get someone's phone number.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your information is always sold.
Right.
When you apply for a loan, when you
Mortgage.
register something, when your information is there, and it is sold.
Right.
It is sold. Before this year, I can't remember when it went out. So that there is a do not call list, right? And you can put your information on there and ask not to be called and all this kind of stuff. You still get called, right? But it's typically it's supposed to be people. If you're getting called, typically it's coming from outside the country. I don't know how true that is, but you can do that, and now you can't. And now they have done a law where you can't text someone unless, if it is, if you're soliciting, unless they have given permission to do that, right? Okay, so that just means that supports the fact that your information is sold. It's
sold.
easy.
But on this piece, it's the malicious piece that we also have to look at, because you can get anyone's information, but it's the malicious piece.
Yeah, but
trying to hurt someone.
Yeah, but if you don't have their information, then you can't do the malicious part. I think that's what I'm thinking. But yeah, what you're saying.
Yeah, and so my other concern is piggyback off of what Melissa said, is that people hide behind their computer. I was on a site even last night, and someone was making fun of an artist that recently was assaulted. And I was looking at all of the comments, and people were saying, it's not funny. It's not funny. We're not going to condone a woman getting abused no matter what the circumstances were. But the person that made the comment, the inappropriate comment, had a cat as their profile face. So people are doing this with the ability of being able to hide behind what they're doing. And so I'm sure there are laws. I'm not, up on online and the laws that are associated with that, but I don't know what the government can do. I know the voices. When you get the voices, the village together, we can change some stuff. We can change laws. We just recently are looking at changing laws when it comes with children being online and the effectiveness and, the ways that these children are becoming addicted which is also creating mental health concerns. So, but it took the village of mothers and families to come together and say enough is enough. We need these online companies, social media companies, these giants to do better. And they're being forced to do better. If nothing else, they're being sued now.
When
Money
we look
does
at that,
talk.
though, when we look at that, I think it's evolving, right? The first social media piece that ever came out, look at where that was to where we are today.
Right.
It is the digital platforms and all these, they're evolving so much so then we're finding then people are using them in the wrong purpose and they're taking advantage of that. And so can the government keep up with all? I mean, I'm not saying that they're not doing enough. I think that as things continue to evolve, the research, the accessibility, and all of that, it is a constant, I would say, struggle to try to make sure that you're staying ahead of. And when you give that ingenuity and that creativity, people find a way
Right.
to do things that are malicious. And that's the worst when you are behind. It allows that ability for you to do whatever and not be held accountable to it.
Right.
By sitting behind a fake profile and all of that. Just think about the number of fake profiles that are out there.
Right.
That are targeting children. And I know that there are tons of task force and the government has tons of regulations set, but still people are finding their way to creep into, the home of a child.
And AI is getting to be a little creepy.
Yeah.
There's the one side, it's great for businesses, it's great for research, it's great for everything else, but the ability to make people look real. And you can't even tell this is not a real person. It's getting really scary.
Yeah.
So, and there are companies that are, or businesses or institutions that are capitalizing on, these things, this harassment, the way that it's according to ratings, it's according to who's watching, the number of people who want to see it, the footprints. And so that in itself is a little scary also. And with that being said, as a platform, I'm not sure if I'm going to do anything unless the government makes me do it. As a user, you can do whatever. You're not going to necessarily affect me as long as there are people who want to see that kind of stuff and want to follow that kind of stuff, right? I think what also bothers me is it's a higher percentage of women being harassed as compared to men. How do we protect free? And this is the last question here, and then I'm gonna see if you guys have a trending question, a trending thing that you want to bring up for the tea bag. How do we protect free speech though? When because I think that there's I don't even know how to say that. I was going to say a silver lining, but I want to be able to speak my mind. But when does that cross over, right? And how does that affect those kind of things when you have to, you want to? We live in the United States, and supposedly we have free speech. How is that protected with this kind of stuff?
I'm all about free speech. I'm all about living out the rights of the United States of America and all that. I'm all about that. However, when that imposes on the safety of someone else, then that's a concern for me. And when we look at our mental health rate right now and people who are dealing with depression, anxiety, and you look at some of the people on some of these social platforms and things like that, and it doesn't take much for there to be a target, for them to become targets, because people are streaming them for, they have hundreds and thousands of followers, and it's, to me, it's so sad when you see the cases of this person was hurt, this person hurt themselves, things like that, because of the pressures of being a social media celebrity and all, and with all that comes with that. So there has to be some other safeguards on how we allow you to have your free speech and allow you to do those things without causing harm. And I think that's where the law and with these digital platforms have to step in and say enough is enough. If you are, what was the term? Doxing and things like that, then there's a legal aspect of that, and you're going to be fined heavily or imprisoned, whatever the case may be. But we have to, but it goes back to what you were saying, Kelly. Someone has to say something. If we are complicit, if you're watching it happen and you don't say anything. So we all have to say something. We all have to stand up for the rights of each other.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. My right should not impede upon it. Someone
No.
else's right.
No.
I agree.
Yeah. I was just thinking about the influencers and how, excuse me, I agree with Melissa about the free speech. We all, but when it becomes malicious, we keep saying malicious, when it becomes detrimental to someone's health, that becomes a concern. I don't know how the government's going to be able to control all that. But, just recently we were looking at a social media site, excuse me, that we wanted to be on. And we were denied. Simply because of our makeup of our podcast and the things that we talk about. So I find it very interesting if we can be red flag for who we are, who this podcast is, and what we stand for, then I'm sure there could be some more safeguards to some of these other platforms and some of these other even influencers that have trigger words that need to be identified. And then we need to say, proceed with caution or whatever that may be. But her presence podcast to be a red X, which is okay. I'm okay on that social media platform. I'm okay. But how sensitive we are.
I just feel
on
that's
one
impact.
thing.
We have impact. Beyond.
Exactly. We have the right impact.
Yes.
It's not negativity, it's not being abusive, but, sometimes it gives the impression that that's okay. And I'm glad that we stand on business.
So what do you think about it, you guys that are listening, when you think about who's responsible and how does that affect free speech? Write in and let us know what you think. Message in on YouTube and let us know. Okay, so we're going to switch over to
Can I add
Okay.
who's responsible? I think we all are because we partake in that. If we didn't partake in that, then there wouldn't be a reason for a lot of that to be occurring and to grow. And so, again, I am on a lot of these platforms, and I'm a comments person. And I like to look to see what people are saying, just to kind of get a understanding of sometimes what is in people's minds and how they convey messages, even if it's negative. And I'm finding that we like to see negativity. We like to probably compare ourselves with somebody else. And I want to see somebody, I may be doing bad, but I want to see somebody doing worse. Or even if that person is doing well, I need to find a reason to knock them off that platform or that pedestal. And you see more negativity than you see positive feedback.
Yeah.
And that's concerning because we're feeding into the narrative.
Yes.
So it gives more platform and more influencers and more reasons for people to keep up with the jerky behavior than it is for people to be out there doing the good. And there's a lot of good out there.
Absolutely.
But we
Tons
keep
of good.
focusing because that's what we like. We like to see the negativity. And there has to be a time and a place where we need to grow up and look at how that affects our country, how that affects people, and more importantly, how that affects our children. Because we're giving them the okay that you can be a jerk.
Yeah, I think that's the last statement. There is a permission. To do a tolerance and permission and tolerance to do those things. There's if it doesn't affect me, I don't care,
Yeah.
And so people have to understand the domino effect and how it does affect you personally, right? I think I know we're not talking about that, but that goes even into voting. People don't vote because they don't feel like my voice is going to be heard or it affects me, But it does. And that's the good thing. It does. And I think the good thing is the education and making sure that we get over. I think as a user, I don't mean like just blocking. I don't want my kids to see this and I don't want to see this. But I also feel like as a user, we need to also put out there, this is how it benefits us from a positive point of view and not necessarily a negative, but this is how it benefits us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So did you have something else that you want to say about that? Are you okay? I'm just making sure I'm reading your body language.
Well, I guess I guess I can say that we are sensationalized by the drama and all those things. It's one thing if it's entertainment, because there's a lot of things on social media that's just pure entertainment.
Go straight to the messages.
Yes,
Let's see what
people get it. Yes.
It's a skit. It is not real.
Right.
It is for fun.
Clever.
Yes, very. And we have to be able to separate what is fake as opposed to this is someone's real life and they are in jeopardy. There's a safety issue and we cannot allow that to continue. So there's a difference. I tell you, I can scroll through it. I'm like just cracking up over stuff, but it's a skit, and you're gonna get the likes and you're gonna get the numbers because that's what it's designed to do, make you laugh, to entertain you. But there's a difference when we talk about targeting people and the safety aspect. So. Who's responsible? We all are.
And we need to educate ourselves.
Yes.
Quit believing it. My mother used to say, do not take wooden nickels. It's falsehood.
Oh, gosh.
It's falsehood. We can keep going on. I think we keep going on this one.
Yeah. I agree, but I'm a little shifted on that because we have our skits and then we have our reality TV and reality. And then that bridges over to the next thing and bridges over to the next thing. And it's just like, man, where do we draw the line? I feel like we show not just because I agree what you're saying as far as just, I'm straight to the messages. Like, what are people saying? I'm cracking up. However, like there are other outlets also, and they all go together, in my opinion, that shows that this is real. It can go into a real thing. And that it portrays that this is how it really is. It portrays how it really is in a household that looks like mine. It portrays how it really is in a household that may not look like me. Whatever cultural background you have, it portrays how it looks like in the political field. It portrays how it, even in the news, it portrays how it looks, and it ain't necessarily true.
Right.
And I think, because even in our reality TV, those are there are things that are staged for, you know what I'm saying? But when you look at it, it's just like, I knew she was like that. What? And you may not even say that. If you think about it, from an intelligent point of view, you may be like, no, that can't be true. But you may not even be thinking in that mind, right? And so I think that's where I'm kind of concerned about, where it just becomes a part of life, you know? I don't know.
You know, there's a social media site. It's got some alphabet. It's only 2, but a lot of times it'll say, "This person is dead. This person died."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, and you know, and then you go to the comments. I go to the comments, and you know, I want to see what's being said, but it also makes me then have to go back and see if this is really true, and then come to find out it's not. And so, again, these are the things that are being allowed to be portrayed on these sites, that there should be a hard stop on these things being, and the companies that are doing it. There should be a hard stop, because you're putting out there incorrect information on purpose.
Yeah, it's clickbait, though.
It's the clickbait. But what I do, I'm a comments girl, and I do like to see when people say, no, enough, you know, AI, you know, enough, because hopefully as you keep seeing these people, you know, saying no, that it gets people to start also being a little bit more critical thinking and saying, before I put my comment to it, let me go do some research. You know, the lazy ones, nah. But, you know, before I say, oh my goodness, this person has passed away or gotten married or had a baby or whatever, you know, but we're not doing that. And I think we need to be doing that now more than ever.
Okay. So what else is out there trending? Anybody? When you guys have? I have another one. Anything else?
I'll throw my little good news one in there. I saw one that it touched my heart. It was here locally, a 9-year-old for his 9th birthday, instead of wanting a birthday party, he decided to do a food drive and donate to a local food bank. So you can see the cars of people just bringing in the food, and they're loading it up. And you would have thought that they gave him this big monster truck or something like that. The smile on his face and how happy he was, and that joy, you know, that just did wonders for me. And it just made me smile. And it gives me hope that there is still, you know, opportunities for us to do good. So kudos to that 9-year-old who did a food drive for his birthday. Giving back.
That's sweet.
Yeah. There are a lot of good things happening out there. They may not be advertised and put out there, but, and I think that was my point earlier also. There are so many good things happening. It's just not being advertised, because that don't bring the clickbait.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, how many people looked at that probably, or clicked on it to read about it or whatever? But kudos to him. And I hear stories like that all the time, actually, how, you know, I want to do this instead. You know, even around the holidays, instead of giving gifts, we're going to go and do this, you know, on the day of the holiday, instead of, you know, doing what the traditional thing is, we're going to go down and do these things. And I know that it's not just the holidays. It's just any day of the week.
Any day. Yeah.
You know, instead of doing this, we're going to do this. This month, we're going to do this. I know for a fact that there are people who are sitting in their house and they're like, you know what? I'm going to commit to every month doing something, you know, and they put in their calendar, this is how I'm going to help my community, you know, and those are the beautiful things that should definitely be trending, right?
And that's what we want to see on those feeds and things like that. You want to see the good stuff, but those aren't the things that get all of the attention. So we have to keep that in mind. That
we should put it out there, though.
Yeah,
we should definitely.
Good stuff is happening.
Good things are happening. If you, wherever you are in your local town, your local city, when you see something good, take a picture, video it, and put it on and say, look what I caught today. You know, look at the fish that I caught. This is a big fish. We need to eat on this one.
Yeah.
And you know, and make that trend.
Yeah. And that needs to happen, because there is so much about, if you see some type of drama or incident, press record. No, how about press record on the good things that are happening, and all the positive things that are going on right here in your community.
Right.
Yeah.
That need to be shared.
Yeah.
And there's so many.
As well. I mean, because sometimes you did. You know, listen, somebody's beating me up, videotape, and call the police. But if you see me helping someone, videotape and put it on.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't have one local. Okay, national. So I'm a NBA girl.
I know.
And I'm having a ball right now watching my my NBA playoffs. But I also am a WNBA. So under the new 2026 collective bargaining agreement, the WNBA players received a massive salary increase, with the team salary cap rising to 367% to $7 million. The average salary jumped to roughly $583,000, with a minimum salary for 2026 set at $270,000 to $300,000, and it then goes into the top elite women's athletes. That is major. That is major. When you consider these young men coming into the NBA, making millions and millions of dollars, and these women are coming in the NBA making under $100,000.
Yeah.
I mean, like Asia Wilson, thank you. I knew it, but I wanted to make sure I said her name right. You know, she was at the top making over $100,000. You know, most of our WNBA women are making their salaries or their money through a lot of endorsements, but not through the NBA. So I am so happy that in the last couple years, the college level athletes that are now in the WNBA are doing something. They're bringing people to these games.
Yes.
And we are a force to be reckoned with, finally, even though we have always been. But when it comes to women's sports, that has been an area that we definitely could have improved in years ago. And I do appreciate a lot of the NBA stars, Stephen Curry and many others, that are standing behind women in WNBA and making sure that their salaries are measuring up.
That's a win. That's a big win.
Yeah, it's a win.
Huge win.
Because I was reading how some time ago, I think even as early as 2020, women were being pushed out of as coaches, women coaches in college sports, because of just the disparity in the two, right?
Yeah.
I think in 2020, it was 95% of sports were dominated by men. 95% were head or coached by men, and even the women sports, the majority were by men.
Right.
Yeah, and so I'm just so glad to hear about that, and so we need to continue. And I love the fact that men who are dominating are standing behind the fact that women should be doing this also, right?
Yeah.
And that's
That's
where
good.
all the help comes from, because obviously they have a voice, right?
They have
And
a
so
voice.
we
And I love to see it when they show who's out in the audience. It's a lot of the NBA, you know, high-paying salary stars are out there supporting these women.
As they should, because those women have skills.
They have skills
to pay the bills.
They are the most skilled and accurate players and shooters.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but when you think about, you know, these women are not, a couple of them, they're not 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". There's a couple of them out there, but you've got to have your skills in order to be able to, And so for these men, they can do a dunk and, you know, but we can also do these three pointers?
3-pointers. There it is.
listen.
I tell you.
So I love it. And it's great because we also had that in soccer. Soccer helped us to move it into the WNBA as well. And so, especially when it comes to all the women sports, we need professional sports. We need to start getting those salaries competitive as we have with these men.
That's some mighty salaries. Some mighty salaries now.
It's major, 367% increase. That's major. In 2026.
Man, wow.
And the NBA's been out, WNBA's been out for what, 30 years, I think it's been. So it's been a long time.
Long
overdue.
time coming, yeah, for sure.
You know, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying for sure.
So women in jobs, and that's a job. You know, I was reading about how, I'm just going to read this. For years, Girlboss era pushed the idea that women could break ceilings. Women are breaking ceilings, is what I should say. Could break ceilings through hustle, ambition, and personal branding. But, and this was around 2020, 21, 22, the year 2021, 22. But that narrative is being challenged by the rise of traditional wife content, women embracing or performing traditional domestic roles. What's your thoughts on that? And what's your thoughts on that? I have some thoughts, but I'll wait to see what you guys say.
Share your thoughts. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so I kind of feel like that just, so I don't know how much I believe in. At first when I read it, I was like, what? Please get out of here. You know, girl boss. Yeah, we bosses, right? And I want to say traditional wife, whatever your definition of traditional wife, in my opinion, is a boss too. Let's talk about that. But in the way that it was saying, in the spirit that it was talking, I was like, what? Then I began to look at the year that this came out, and I was like, okay, because everyone was at work before COVID, at the place, at the building. And then COVID caused everyone to shift, and then you had to work, if you were blessed to be able to do that, work from home. Then after COVID pretty much was over and people could start coming out, and, you know, people were given the opportunity to stay at home and work because they could see statistically production was even better. How about that?
Right.
You know,
They're working longer hours.
as well or better, right? When, at home. I think in my opinion, the only sector that was affected was education of our children.
Right.
But the workplace. So with that being said, now I'm at home and I'm able to have to take care of my child because they're at home also. And then we're back to the traditional thing. But is that traditional or not? Because if I'm working, or maybe people lost their jobs, or because I don't even want to say lost your job. You left your job because, let's remember, y'all, you were able to get, was it unemployment? I think it was unemployment. And the unemployment that was being paid was
better than your job.
And a lot of places back for what?
Yeah, exactly.
What I'm going back for? Yeah, I'm gonna be a wife. I'm gonna be a home wife. And I'm gonna be. It's not a traditional husband, but I'll be at home too as a husband. Go back to work for what?
And still getting everything paid for.
And everything, paid for. So I kind of feel like this was birthed out of that, or birthed out of that. This traditional wife thing was birthed out of that. So that's my thought. What do you guys think about that? Do you believe it? Do you feel like this is just kind of a narrative, even that, our society, those leaders in society are trying to make us start to shift to because of their plans, or what? What's your thoughts?
I would say this. No government, no institution, no one can dictate what is tradition in my home. I think that has to be between you and, because what looks like traditional in your home may not look like traditional in my home. My stance on home living and things like that is a partnership, and in that partnership, you decide what works for your home. What does that look like? And it may not fit what is the societal norm. It may not fit that. It may not fit how I grew up and the traditions that I saw growing up. But you have to create your own space and your own way for that longevity and the success of your own home. So whichever direction that you feel is the best direction to go, that's what you got to do. And I understand that being home, the wife being home is more of that per se traditional role. But nowadays we're seeing more men are at home raising the kids.
Listen, know how to clean the house.
Yes.
Washing dishes and clothes. And mow the yard.
Yes.
And the food is
And okay with it. And okay with it.
Because
And the kids look good.
It's a partnership. It truly is a partnership. And if we look at it in that sense, but if you like that, where you're the stay-home person and your spouse provides all the financial means, I'm all for it.
Love it for you.
Wherever it works for you and your space. We just can't dictate what goes from home to home to home. I think you have to be at peace with your God and what's in your home and do what's best for your family.
Society cannot dictate what you do
No.
in your own home and persuade you.
I feel I don't necessarily agree with with the traditional, and I agree with what I still don't agree with the traditional wife. It by definition is just not the same. And the reason why I say that is, as a woman, I have choices now. And I think that that's what makes the difference. So that's what makes me a girl boss, if that's what you want to say. If I want to stay at home, guess what? That's my choice. It's not because I feel like that's all I have.
Right.
Or that's the only opportunity I have, right? Or if I want to stay at home and work, start my own business, then guess what? I can do that, right? And this day and time, I have more than likely you're going to have if you're married, you're gonna have your spouse is gonna support that also, right? If you're not married, you're special. Someone is gonna support that also. Your family's gonna support that also. I think that that's what, to me, it's just like what I don't, it's not traditional from back in the day standpoint. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's
right. I mean, so it's almost as if we have to go back and not look at the forward movement that women have made. So the traditional woman per se was back in the 50s, where they would be staying at home and making sure that the home front was lovingly done in their high heel shoes. Or at least that's what we saw on TV. Leave it to Beaver. But who's to say that the traditional woman or wife, she hasn't evolved? Many women now are business owners. So that could be the new traditional. Many women are going for their doctorates. That could be the new traditional woman. So who's to say, who dictates or who defines what the traditional woman is? Yeah, going backwards.
So let's even just take a look, because even what you just defined, even if I take the woman from the 50s, let me just take a home in the 50s. If that man is outside the house, there is an organizational structure inside of the home that must be maintained. That's what I'm saying. That must be managed.
Girl boss.
That's a job.
That's what I'm saying.
That is a job.
So never forget, even in the traditional setting, the woman was still a girl boss because she was managing a whole household, children, educating the children.
Husband schedule.
Yes.
Without her husband would not be able to do as much as he's doing outside the home. Anyway,
you hear that term. You hear that term. You're like, behind every successful man is a good woman.
I like beside.
Well, that's my point. Exactly.
I like beside.
In order
Holding
for
my
one
hand.
to be, in order for one in any family to be successful, it's because someone has made a sacrifice. You may be on the forefront. You may be the person that is the face of our family out there in the public, but trust and believe your success is being dictated by the work that's being taking place at home. Because if you're not working and collaborating together, that front is all going to fall apart. So never forget the role, even in the 50s, of the traditional woman at the house, because she was managing an organization, and that organization was the peace in your home.
Right.
Hey, you
So
hear me? It was
right.
it was celebratory.
Yes.
It was pushing.
Yes.
Sometimes it's funny because they
Encouraging.
say
Yes.
behind every man is a good woman, but sometimes the woman was like, "You better come on."
Exactly. We need
And
this. We
pushing
got to
and-
get this.
Right.
Yes,
All that kind of
yes,
stuff.
yes.
So-
Right. And he was accepting of the push.
Peacemaker,
Right.
all sorts of things. So,
Yes.
yeah.
And then working together, I think that piece of working together where we are, as a family, you're deciding, okay, who will be most successful as the front person for our family, meaning out in the public. And then this is the person that's going, and we're supporting one another.
Right.
That's what teamwork and partnership is all about.
Right.
We are to help each other.
Right.
It doesn't matter who is, yes, I'm all about the biblical stance and all of that, honoring my husband and all that. But that honor goes back and forth.
Right.
It's a partnership.
As he honors you.
Yes. Loving me as I love you. And then we both can promote each other in
Right.
whatever direction
Right.
our family, the trajectory of our family,
Right.
where we see ourselves going. It is all about working together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And no one feels less than.
No.
Okay. Any other teas? Alrighty. So women are more present, more vocal, and more powerful than ever. We just talked. That's
Yes.
really what we just
Yes.
said, right? And because of that, people are more present, more vocal, more powerful. Just
Yes.
period. Just not just women, but because of that, our communities, there are eyes and a voice that's there that wasn't there before, for our children and for our for the men and for whatever, for mankind.
Exactly.
Right? And that visibility, although it does come with new risk, as we talked about it, sometimes it comes with a new conflict, not sometimes it does. New conversations, but it also comes with power. It comes with positive responsibilities, right?
Yeah.
We should run to it and embrace it and not feel like we're being pushed out, but understand that conflict means, okay, I'm ready to fight. And I think that we see that. We see that, right? I think the question for all of us is, how do we build a world where women can be safe, and not just perceived to be safe, but are safe, are respected, right? And are free. And I have to say, before I move on, I feel like as far as freedom, respected, and being safe, you have to walk as if you know that's what you are.
I
Right?
agree.
You may hear and see it. That does not dictate that that doesn't mean that's, just because somebody said it doesn't mean that it's true.
Right.
And I think that that's what I am free. And I like how it feels to be free. Period. I like how it feels. I love how it feels to be respected for who I am, right? Whether this be online, at work, at the grocery store, in politics, across the globe, doesn't mean that things aren't happening.
Right.
I'm just saying, don't walk like this stuff is happening to you as an individual. Walk as if you are free, you are respected, you are safe, you are powerful, right? And so that's the conversation that we should be having. Those are the things that should be trending.
Yes.
Those are the T's that we should be
Yes,
talking about,
absolutely.
right?
Positivity.
Yeah. Any other takeaways?
Well, even with that, I think about the rallies that women have established, especially in these last 10 years, and how they have made a movement across this country for change. And those voices are being heard, and they're bringing in more and more people of all walks of life, supporting those missions that these women, are establishing and building for a better world. Right. And that makes me very happy. I've also attended some of these rallies, and the excitement and the build of community and togetherness coming together for a change, a better world. It's women. It's women.
Yeah. Yeah.
The empowerment.
The empowerment. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you at where? YouTube. subscribe, like, share.
Subscribe.
Yes. We are on.
Comment.
Yes.
We need your
Yes,
comments.
we
We
love
love
your
to read your
comments.
comments.
We
Sometimes
love
we
your
will
comments.
even respond.
Yes. So we are on all the major platforms, podcast platforms. We are on TikTok as well. So make sure you go in and subscribe, download, view. Thank you so very much. See you next time.